Two Dads, One Cast, coming at you with episode 282, Fall of the House of Tesla. I like that. Is that a Poe reference, Jason? Feels like a Poe reference.
It might be. It probably likely yes it is. It's a sad rip off, but
No, it's not.
it's
Quote the
okay.
Raven, nevermore, Elon, nevermore. Folks, we're obviously talking about Elon Musk, he's in the news, I don't know, every day now. Um,
Ah, God,
by the time you hear this, right,
ketamine and
right,
autism.
drugs. By the time you hear this, he'll probably be crucified or king of the world or something. But
Ah.
Jason, you got any tasty beverages before we get too deep
Oh,
into Elon, literally
oh,
and figuratively?
Jesus,
Get
Jesus,
right into it.
Jesus. That's woof. That's yes, I have from Revolution Brewing in
Ooh,
Chicago.
Chicago, Illinois.
It's called A Little Crazy. It's a Belgio style pale ale. Um, yeah, there might be words. I can't really read it. No, that's a government warning. I didn't know we were still doing that. Anyways, it's looks
I
like a
thought
Santa
we
Claus
had we
looking motherfucker.
dismantled that. We didn't dismantle the search and general department yet. No, it's not a thing.
Um,
Doge, get on it. Let's cut that. Let's cut that fat.
Actually, no, we won't because, and this is a great segue ahead,
Oh
because
shit.
the Surgeon General is actually part of the Air Force, and ironically, that was a video that I watched, which helped spur this topic. Was that out of all the, actually, that was the one I shared with you, was
Yeah,
the
yeah.
John Stewart
Oh
one,
Mar.
where
Oh, it's a
he
John Stewart. Yeah,
literally,
yeah.
yeah, or was it Mar? It
I
was
feel
Mar.
like it was Mar. I
Yeah,
feel like it was Mar.
it
But
was
yeah,
Mar.
yeah.
Yeah. Where we cut a whole whopping 50 mil from the defense budget. That's what was it, 45% of the gajillion bajillion
Right.
spend that we do every year. But
Like
anyways,
I hate to be slobbering all over Bill Maher yet again, but he is fun. And what I like is that he picks on both sides and how direct he is about it all, right? Because here's
yeah,
Doge and
because
Elon.
he's not
He's not
he's
slobbering
not
on anybody's knobs,
well
right?
it's
He's like, fuck all you
he's
guys.
not, yeah, I mean, he's ironically he's pretty apolitical about it, right? It's not a it's not a political attack because it's the opposition. It's an attack because it's fucking dumb.
Yes, yes. So basically, folks, if you haven't seen it, I think it was from last week or 2 weeks ago on Bill Maher's, the end of his show where he does the new rules, and he was pointing out that Musk and the Doge department or whatever the fuck they're calling themselves, they're
Merry band of avenge nerds,
pranksters.
nerd vengers, whatever.
Sure, whatever the fuck they are. They claim, they're cutting all this government fat, and Mars like, well, our government has a budget of like 1.9 trillion
Yep.
dollars, and you guys gutted the USAID, which was less than 1% of that budget. Have you thought about looking at the 53% of the budget that is the Department of Defense? 53%, right about
Yeah.
$1 trillion worth of the budget
Yeah.
is defense, and
No
we
fat.
spend like 10 times the amount of our next adversary. Um,
What was it,
yeah,
eight times what China spends? No, wait.
eight times what Russia spends. I think 10
Yeah, yeah,
times
yeah,
what
yeah.
China spends. Like,
Yeah, that's what it is. Yep.
it's,
Yep. Yep. No, there's no fat,
but,
no fat to cut there.
and we
None at
cut
all.
half a mil. Half
Yeah.
a mil? Half a,
Yeah.
half a mil.
We're
So
doing
their
we're doing
budget
real
is
good.
$1 trillion, and we found 500,000
Mm,
to cut.
it's excellent. Good work.
Wow.
Good work.
It's
Very efficient.
crushing it,
Very
Elon.
efficient. It's a very efficient. Uh,
Honestly.
yeah. At the same time, I guess they technically would be an NGO, and they're probably as efficient as a regular NGO. So maybe we shouldn't be so hard on them.
Maybe, maybe we
Maybe.
should cut him some slack. Um, and
No. No.
to me, it just points out that they're not actually trimming any fat guys. They're just dismantling things they don't like or that aren't making them money. So Elon's probably is making some money from the Department of Defense. So the Department of Defense is just fine.
Yeah.
But what do you?
I mean, like, I guess this is my fucked up brain about it. I like the idea of somebody doing some real accounting.
Sure.
I don't like the idea of saying, well, this doesn't really seem important, so we'll just shut it down. Because not that I don't think, not that, not that I think technically everything they're doing is going to be harmful all over the place, but I also don't think it's going to help anything. So it's you're doing all this work and you're getting no really good results from it.
Yeah.
And really all you're doing is just stirring up a lot of shit. Do I think some of the supposed quoted stuff that the USA aid ID or whatever money's going to is good? Certainly not. But I also don't think a lot of the money that we spend on shit is good either. But
No.
at the same time, well, I don't really have an alternate plan. Um, there's no real good solution to any of it. And
Yeah.
I mean, like, I don't know. The USAID thing is crazy. The fucking grandstanding we're dismantling the Department of Education is bonkers. I feel
It is.
like this is some seriously performative shit.
Mm-hmm.
And the goofy thing is that I think Americans are ignorant enough to think that this is good. This is how
Yes.
this is, like they work at jobs where they see people who get paid and don't do fuck all, and they're like, well, here it is. This is what somebody should be doing where I work, and now somebody's doing it at the government, and the government sucks, and blah blah fuckity blah blah, and all this other shit. So my big thing is that they literally won't be able to fail. They're gonna fail upward doing all this shit.
Yeah.
They're gonna wreak absolute havoc
Yep.
in people's lives. They're not gonna really do any good, actual good for anybody.
No.
But everybody's so fucking ignorant that you're gonna just drive a further wedge. You're gonna have people who are who are literally being told that canceling USAID programs is killing babies, and you're gonna have people who believe that we're not supporting transgender plays in Ecuador now, so that's good. And
What
probably
if both
probably
are
none
true?
of probably none of it is true, and all of it is true, and it doesn't really fucking matter because it doesn't change a lick of thing. It does nothing. It does it's a fucking like you pointed out. It's $500,000 out of $2 trillion. It's like
Right.
it's like taking a handful of nickels and throwing it down the drain and going, "Oh no, I lost a lot of money."
Yeah.
Yes, in some ways you
Lost
did.
some money. Right. Like
In some ways you did not.
in the grand scheme of things, I think you're going to be all right. Right. No, and
Right.
I think we kind of covered some of this angle about a month ago when we talked about it. Like they're doing illegal things, but they
Well,
will get
that's
the
the
cuts
fun.
done.
That's the fun thing about it is
Mm.
that the only good part about it is this is all going to go to fucking court.
Oh yeah.
And on the other side of it, there are going to be some clear-cut fucking things that are going to keep any of this shenanigans from happening because that's
But it's
always the
too late.
danger.
It's too late, right? So
Ah,
the
yeah.
a lot of the people who quit or were fired or were given packages to not come back, they will have moved on, right? And
Yeah.
it's not. I don't think it's easy to attract a lot of young people to these positions. They're
No.
like clerk positions, right? They're like
Yeah.
clicking buttons at a desk, and that's not to say it's not important. Of course, it fucking is. Of course, it fucking is. What's
I don't know if
ironic
it's
is
all
that
that important either, but I
I
get
mean,
what
I
you're
think
saying.
some of it definitely is, right?
Somebody has to do the paperwork.
Yes, right.
I don't necessarily think that the answer is Elon and his merry band of dipshits
Oh,
to
and
fix
let
that.
let me even cut him a bit of slack and say bringing in an outside consultant, someone from outside of the government, to go in and legitimately analyze what people are doing is probably a smart thing. To have that
Yes.
idiot be coming in with a chainsaw and just destroying things willy nilly, like I don't. Let's just lay off half the people at the Department of Ed, cause fuck it, and then let's see if it succeeds. Cause that's what I did with Tesla, and that's what I did with Twitter, And you know what? I found out that some of the jobs we actually needed because things broke then.
Yeah.
And so then I reinstated those jobs. Yeah, that works just fine, I guess, for a private business if you want to be a lunatic, right?
Yeah.
Ask any of those people if they like working for you because I bet they fucking don't. But when it's actually something that's somebody's livelihood, right? Um,
Yeah.
so right now, guys,
Well, and
lots of
and I guess
schools are struggling, right? Lots of
yeah.
public schools and lots of land grant universities, your state universities, are in a tough spot. And it's because the funding that a lot of students rely on, the $5,000 or whatever that students get from the federal government from legitimate loans that legitimately exist, might not be there come fall. And that means that universities that were counting on that money, guys, just do the numbers here. If the average student takes out 5 grand in loans for their freshman year at college, and any of that money doesn't show up, let's say 20% of that money doesn't show up, they've potentially lost 20% of their enrollment. Can you imagine taking that kind of hit, losing a fifth of the money that you thought you were going to get? If you're in business right now, and something that Elon just did is going to cost your company 20% of their revenue next year, how would you fucking feel? And these colleges are nonprofit individuals. Like they do not have an outside source of revenue, right? Beyond that, a lot of the science inside those organizations rely on grant money, Jason, that also is up in the fucking air right now. So there's a lot of uncertainty when it comes to things like education. And education's already been gutted pretty hard, hasn't it? To get to
No.
a local level here, one of our local school districts, not mine, just announced 4% layoffs for next year. Now, it's not that they went through and they were like, yeah, our enrollment's down. We don't think we need these people. They just are laying off 16 teachers that they had picked up last year or the year before because they're nervous about funding. And so they're going to cram more students into other classes next year because they're worried about how much money they're going to have and they're not going to be able to pay their fucking bills. And that's all Trump and Elon, guys. Now, is that what you want for your kids?
Yes. Because my taxes.
Right. Well, don't worry, your taxes aren't fucking going down at the same time. So, you're welcome.
Wait, what?
Right. Because this has nothing to do with your taxes, it turns out, right? It has to do with the
My
entity.
my taxes pay their monies, and then their monies don't getting paid, so my taxes go down. Because that's how
Nope.
it works.
Nope. Trust me.
You're
Because
wrong. You're wrong. I'm not in
I know.
financial dire straits because I don't understand how money works, but I understand how taxes work in a federal government.
This is literally what it sounds like, though, arguing with someone about this, right? Because you're like,
I
no,
mean,
they're not talking about cutting
did
your
did we
taxes, man. They're talking
did
about
we did
taking the
we
department that used to divvy up your taxes, and they're going to shift that to the Treasury Department instead. We're still taking your money. Don't you worry about
here's
that. We're still going to take the money.
I, I think this will now be our overarching theme in this episode as well is ignorance in America.
Right, right. Right. Well, you're indoctrinating my kids. I guess, Jason, that to me is the most frustrated thing. Is like DOGE is dismantling the Department of Education. Trump's
Hmm.
claiming that he's giving the power to decide how we teach people back to the states. The power for how we teach people has been with the states for a long time. The first time it was taken away by a Republican, a little old guy named George W. Bush, baby Bush himself, did No Child Left Behind. And that said, you got to do this test every year to see if your students are doing better. And if they aren't doing better, we're going to cut your funding. Okay? That was
Hmm.
the first time that the government had kind of intervened in education. How did they intervene? We decided we were going to give SAT and ACT more money. That's what we decided, right? Because instead of just testing, I don't know, your juniors or seniors who are college bound, now we're going to test everybody all the fucking time, right? Because your funding is
Look,
tied to
them
that.
look, them Chinese people, they're saying their tests are better than our tests. And there's one thing that Americans aren't going to do is they're not going to fail to do the tests better than the Chinese tests, even though it's China and China doesn't lie. We trust them 100% of the time with whatever they're saying, just like North Korea.
Never
We
lie.
trust them people, whatever they say in those countries that are well known not for executing their own people, not for executing minorities or anybody else who might say anything against the government, who's
Anything
wanting to make
negative.
sure that they're just telling us what we should believe, not like it happened in a pandemic, but we believe them anyways. So, uh, government, money, bad, good, education, goobers. I do.
Right,
You know
right.
what kills
I
me
know,
is like
I know.
the whole thing is crazy. It's like, like, oh, we're Trump, we're giving the power back to the states. Well, first of all, the states didn't have the fucking power because you guys had the fucking carrot the whole fucking time. I don't know, just
Sure,
what you said, which
that's
was
true.
no child left behind.
Yeah, but we
Second
gutted
of all,
that, so we changed
second
that.
of all,
But still,
second of all, I love the idea of Trump telling all these fucking people that we're giving the power of the education department and education back to the states. So then the states are gonna go, oh fuck. Guess we got to raise taxes because there's no way we can fucking do all this on our own because we don't have that government money.
yep.
So good job. Um, it's ironic because I know a lot of people are like, Trump's practices will raise taxes. But I don't think it's necessarily the same way that everybody thinks it's going to happen.
Probably not.
I think it's going to happen in the insidious ways that I'm talking about, not in
Quite possibly.
the sort of blanket things of like, tariffs equal higher prices for steel and blah blah fuckity blah blah. No, I think this mess that's brewing in Washington is gonna, end up being like states are gonna be stuck with not being able to get federal funding, and they're gonna
So we're gonna
basically
have to raise
they're
revenue
going to
somehow,
have to raise taxes on their own populations,
or
which
suffocate. Right.
which might be even more hilarious considering the, red wave that struck state government across the nation. I mean, this is
Because they
pretty
are
fucking
not going to want to
hilarious.
raise taxes, right? No, and I think
Right.
that illustrates perfectly who's going to suffer, right? Like, so schools that don't have a lot of Title One, schools that aren't impoverished, they won't probably feel the hit as much because most of that government money is for things like IEPs, so special ed departments, right? And then Title One, which is like a reading program that, by the way, my son was in when he was in first grade, right? And it's a program to try to help kids learn how to read, and it is federally funded. It's not a big part of the money that we take in, but it is part of the money that we take in, and it funds at least one teacher in my small district, guys. So how many teachers you think it funds at bigger districts or really impoverished districts like, I don't know, East St. Louis or the south side of Chicago, right? And
Well,
those
I like to
places are going
think,
to be hurting hard.
yeah, I like to think about the school district that I came up through, which is massive in a very rural area,
Yep.
and they, I guess thinking about it now, like I was in public schools and I ended up getting speech therapy through the public
Same.
school.
Me too. Me too.
And honestly, like being an adult now, I'm pretty sure that our school district would not have had the money
Yeah.
for that if they
Mm-hmm.
weren't getting some kind of federal funding for that.
Yes, and I'm sure they are getting federal funding for that. So those are the things that are going to go away, and man, that's going to affect a lot of your students. So think about this:
Yeah,
if special ed goes away, that means everybody's going
that's
to
a
Gen
big
Pop.
fucking problem.
Are you ready for that? They're all going to
That's a
Gen
big
Pop.
fucking problem.
They're not gonna like
That's
that.
crazy.
Your kids aren't gonna fucking like that. The teachers aren't gonna fucking like that. You already got a teacher shortage, right? And then we're gonna lose those people who specialized in doing that task, right? And Jason, the thing is, the
I'll
money's
give
not going away. They're just going to pivot it to
right.
other departments, right? So the idea that cutting the Department of Education is somehow going to save us money, no. You're going to make the Department of the Treasury do more shit that it's not prepared to do when another department was doing that shit just fine.
Hey, don't worry. Don't worry. We'll still be able to show that we're not spending the money. It'll just be going into black operations and things that we don't actually ever know what gets spent on. So don't worry about it.
Right.
Don't worry about it.
I guess the big thing though, and I really wish somebody do something about it. Maybe by the time you're hearing it, they will, is that Congress is supposed to do all this shit. Again, I got no problem with Elon auditing shit, with bringing in an outside consultant and saying, have a look at this stuff for us, right?
Yeah.
But Congress is the people who's supposed to allocate the funds, all right? They're the ones that created the Department of Education. They're the ones who have to dismantle the Department of Education. Trump cannot legally do this, and every single judge that I've heard from has said as much. And yet the Republicans in fucking Congress are like, I don't know, let's just fucking let this happen. Like, and they should be up in fucking arms. Like, they should be freaking out. Even if you don't like the Department of Education, even if you don't like USAID, you guys, Congress, fucking did that. The presidency, if we allow Trump to do this, then the next president that comes in can just be like, I don't know, I don't fucking like this shit, so I'm dismantling it. And there's a past precedent that you guys let this fucking asshole do it, so I guess I'm gonna fucking do it too.
Yeah. No, like I said, I can't wait for the lawsuits to happen. It's gonna be hilarious.
Some of them are already happening, right? Some of them are already
Yeah.
happening. And I guess the big one to talk about this week or last week was the deportation lawsuit, in which a judge
Ay.
verbally said, turn the fucking planes around. We're not at war with Venezuela. You can deport these fuckers under some other statute, but you can't deport them under an 18th century war act, motherfucker.
Yeah.
And Trump's lawyers saying, oh, we didn't think we had to follow that because it was a verbal thing and not written. And the judge being like, are you fucking serious?
Nice. I
Yeah,
like it.
you did.
I like
You
it.
did have to. And then what was it? The place where they did fucking land, the president of that fucking place, what was it? Saying something. Took a fucking video and like put it on Twitter of the fuckers getting off the plane and went, oops. Like, what the fuck is happening in our country, man? And when you have that kind of blatant disregard for the law, which generally I champion, that means that most of the population's got to be going right now like none of the laws really fucking matter, right?
I would agree with you, but I don't think people really understand it. I don't think people
Right.
get what's happening.
Or aren't paying
Um,
attention, right? Like aren't
well,
paying
no,
attention
because
enough to even like fucking care, right?
like as much as people like to talk about the not an insurrection, I really find it hilarious that no one has yet said the word or words banana republic,
Ugh, God,
because that's what this is like fucking banana republic shenanigans. And it's like, so I guess my question on that is, since nobody's really gone there yet,
yeah.
is it because no one thinks it's gonna be there, or some? I get this feeling like Congress and the states and everybody is like waiting for the adult to be like, okay, we got to knock this shit off. But the problem is, there's no adult to say that anymore.
Well, Roberts has said it. So when Trump then called for the judge who told him to turn around the planes to be impeached,
Oh yeah,
the
there you go.
Chief Supreme Court Justice John Roberts, who is conservative, right,
Yeah,
came up and said, "Look, there is no place in our country for the president or anyone else to call for impeachment of a judge because you didn't like his ruling. Judges are there to, interpret the law and enforce the law. That's what they're there for. You don't have to fucking agree with them. You don't have to
no,
fucking like what they say, but you do have to fucking do what they say. You can
right.
appeal, but you have
I
to
was gonna
fucking do
say,
what they
and
say.
if you don't like it, go to fucking court
You can go to
and
court.
argue it.
You can countersue. There's all sorts of legal methods that you can do. What you can't do is defy what they fucking say and then call for their impeachment. That's Banana Republic bullshit. Is to me what he was fucking saying. Now he didn't use exactly those terms. He said it very politely, as I guess a Supreme Court head judge ought to fucking do. But
Probably should, yeah, be,
but for me,
yeah.
it's like, what the fuck are you doing? And you're right. No one's most of the people aren't paying enough attention to give a shit about this. Or if they are, they're
I
hearing the
think,
spin of it, right? Like, well, those are
yeah, yeah,
criminals,
yeah,
Jason. They deserve to be
yeah,
deported.
sure. Mm-hmm.
Maybe. I don't fucking know. But you can't deport them under a War Crimes Act when we're not fucking at war. And Trump's
Yeah.
counter is, well, we're at war with immigration. And you're like, oh my God. Like we were at war with drugs under, Nixon.
I mean,
Right?
hey,
Yeah.
that's
Okay.
there's your past precedents. We're at war with the fucking idea. I guess if anything, that is probably the truest thing that's ever been. That probably is the American thing. In the last decade, all we've done is been at war with ideas.
So the previous episode we're talking about the
Ooh,
multiverse. To me, we're talking
ooh,
about postmodernism. That's what we're talking about. Nothing fucking means
ooh.
anything anymore. It's all fucking made up nonsense.
Oh
What
my
are we even
God.
fucking doing here, right? Like the words are. I don't have to listen to that because those were just words. It is what he might as well fucking said, right? And words don't matter, right? And I'm like,
Yeah,
it's
we've
fucking
hit.
postmodernism, man.
Dude, so I know we've talked about this before. So do we say it's peak or shark jumping? What are we doing?
Dealing with it's hard to say. I mean, I feel like it's definitely crossing the Rubicon. Like we've been crossing the
We've
Rubicon
we've
into
yeah.
postmodernism, and we've crested across there. We're at least halfway across the Rubicon. There's no going back now. We are in an era where I can say whatever I fucking say your words fucking mean and too fucking bad, because that's what I feel, and my feelings are what matters.
And what matters are what your feelings.
Yep,
Wait,
and that's how
maybe.
I
Did I get
feel.
that? I got that
So
sort of right. Yeah.
like, and your facts, I don't like your
Uh,
facts, so I'm gonna ignore them for now. So
I also,
obviously
I
they aren't
also don't I
happening.
also don't like anyone else's facts either, so I'll
Yep,
ignore those as well.
all those. I'm gonna ignore all those. It's fine. Like insanity, insanity.
You know
Um,
that you know the worst part about it is that all this shit does is lend credence to those fucking wackadoodles who think we're living in a simulation. That's the worst. That's
Dude,
that is the worst. That is the worst thing about all of this, is that
I
then
said
those
that the other day to somebody. I was like, this is just more evidence that we're living in a simulation. Like the crazy fucking shit that's happening, and
yeah.
people are just like, it's just another. It's a Tuesday, you know.
I th- I think if anything, all of this proves that I think we value human beings incorporated way more than we should.
Oh
And
God,
and I think this is the flip side to like how does a Hitler happen?
yeah.
This
Yes.
this is the inverse of that. It's like all this shit is going on,
Mm-hmm.
yet somehow normal life is still continuing,
Yep.
right?
So it's fine. Everything's fine.
It's fine. Yeah, I
It's
mean,
fine.
this too shall pass at some time.
It worries me because I'm not a young
Well,
person
the
growing
next,
up
the
right
next,
now, but I'm
the next,
dealing with a
fuck, the
lot of young
next
people.
fuckhead, the next fuckhead
Oh yeah.
in the presidency is it's going to be fucking wild. By the way, I highly suggest you start listening to the Gavin Newsom podcast.
God,
Start with the one
who's
where
that?
he interviews Steve Bannon and agrees with him,
Oh fuck. So and
and
that's our
and
next
tell me
president, right?
that's
Obviously.
our next president.
God,
Yeah,
fucking
I'll
Christ.
fucking I'll go right with it right
Right
now.
in it.
Next
You're
fucking
you're in.
president.
I'm all on. God,
Hmm.
fucking Christ.
Hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, no problems there. The bestest Californian governor Everest that happened.
Fuck.
The DNC will have him propped up.
Get me
He's going to be the
Pritzker.
left's
Get
Trump.
me Pritzker.
He's the
God,
left's
don't.
Trump.
Oh no.
He's the left's Trump. I love it. I can't
I
wait
feel
for
like
it.
he's practically running on that too. Like I feel like he's
Oh
leaning
yeah.
into that, right?
Oh fuck yeah,
Um,
he is. Dude, it's crazy. It is fucking crazy. You thought Tucker Carlson going to Russia and basically
was
fucking
crazy.
giving Putin a
A
blowjob was
blowjob on the
crazy.
air was crazy, but just wait.
Just wait. Just wait for Gavin Newsom.
Like yeah,
Mm,
yeah, it's a simulation. We're at like
it's a
super peak now.
simulation.
It's like
Totally. Yep. Yep. I'm gonna take one big last swig of this beer.
you
And
ought to. I think we ought to all probably have some
mm,
beer. But so all right. So my closing thoughts are this, right? Is
closing
so
thoughts.
so look, Jason and I. If y'all can't tell,
Don't you worry about it all.
yeah, exactly, exactly. Like we laugh through this, right? But we aren't like the direct effects of it on us are minute, right? Like the price of eggs are up. You know, like and gasoline might go up,
They're
or steel
already
might go up, or
it's already eggs are already dropping.
like
The
right.
this like in I was listening to I listen to financial podcast every morning, and they were going on somebody was going on about oil. Oh my God, a barrel of oil is $66 a barrel, and I'm like, that ain't fucking nothing.
Yeah, I feel like that's what it was. You know, in the
That's
'90s. Like
like
I think we're
it
gonna
was
be
like
fine.
90 forever, and then it hit triple digits and people lost their
And we lost
fucking
our mind, and
mind.
now it's in the '60s. I think we're gonna be
it,
fine.
it
So
went it
like,
went up $2 and people these guys like, oh my God, it's a sign of the recession, it's stagflation, stickyflation, whatever fucking
but
bullshit goddamn term they came up with. The fact that basically it's that they don't actually know, they have no control over it, so they're
yeah,
just gonna make fucking mouth noises to pretend, so you keep giving them your money.
dude, they're probably
Done.
right to a certain degree. Things almost always
Sure.
go up. In our is the economy gonna fucking go down now? Yes, because there's
Yep.
too much uncertainty. There's too much
Yes.
uncertainty with Trump. As soon as he calms the fuck down and stops doing crazy shit, it'll probably be fine again. Okay,
Yep.
but that's the only thing that's really affecting me and you directly, right? And until
Yeah.
something affects us directly, we're largely laughing through this. Okay,
Oh yeah.
it's ludicrous. It's over the top. My wife's pissed off about it. She's super upset. My mother's freaking out. Like, and I get it. They're upset and they're worried about the people who are being
Just
affected, and there are.
yeah.
There are people being
Just
affected,
just
and
just tell them as soon as Tesla stock goes back up, everything will be fine. Because right now it's dropping. People are selling. People are
yep.
buying it all up. It's going to turn right back around.
Buy the
All
dip,
this,
Jason. Buy the dip.
this supposed domestic terrorism that's happening against Tesla and Tesla dealers and Cybertrucks and all this shit. It's all going to wash a fucking way. You got people, I love the idea of that Tesla's going to fail because everybody who's, an electric car loving environmental lefty, they're getting rid of everyone's getting rid of their Teslas, and like I guess Canada is like has some kind of action against Tesla now and all this shit and blah 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 blah, and
Good.
it's like, cool. You know who's not going to buy Teslas? Is the fucking guy with a Trump 2024 flag and a
Yeah.
diesel pickup.
Yeah.
Even
Who's
though,
never gonna fucking buy
they're
Teslas?
Tesla bros now. Ain't gonna buy a
Right.
fucking Tesla.
Nope.
And all this is gonna blow over, and all those people are the same people who said they were gonna go to Canada when Trump was elected the first time, and they're all gonna shut the fuck up, and they're gonna keep driving their Teslas,
Probably.
and the stock will go back up. It's all good.
Probably. But I guess I want to end on the
Un-
notion that
Unless un,
people
unless we
are
have a
getting hurt.
financial institution meltdown, then we're fucked.
Well, that's God. That's always the
I
fear.
mean,
But so I
as long as banks haven't been engaged in predatory lending for the last couple years. Oh, anyways, so yeah, you were saying?
so and I guess that's constantly my background fear is that like we're already living in a fiat currency world. You know, like
Yeah.
where one more downgrade on that credit report for American. But that sounds like next episode. My fear here is that there are people getting hurt, and so I'm having
Yes.
students coming to me, Jason, and the students who are in the queer community, and they're like, I'm getting ready to go to college. Should I be worried? Like, am I gonna get targeted? Will I be all right if I go to this state? I'm thinking about going to this state, and or am I gonna have student loan money to even go to school? And I'm like, I fucking hope so. Like, and so though that's the people who are getting hurt.
Yeah,
And
I
those
want.
kids are the same kids who went through COVID. They're the same ones who missed what
Yeah.
a year and a half of fucking school. And now here we are. Those kids are getting ready to go to college, and we're going like, I don't know, education might collapse. So fucking good luck. But don't worry, it'll keep going in other countries, and then we'll have to keep hiring immigrant laborers to come in and be our doctors and our scientists because our education system's completely fucked. So, way to go, Elon.
He's gonna go into HB1 visa sales. The
I'm buying
Tesla
a Tesla.
visa.
Yeah, the
Tesla
Tesla.
visa.
That's it. The gold card Visa Tesla, all electric.
Ah, I think
I'm
that's
buying a
good.
Cybertruck. I'm buying a Cybertruck. Let's go.